Hey everyone, if you've been curious about synths and wondering whether this thing is actually worth the investment, stick around because I'm about to break down the MOOG Subsequent 37 for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I picked this up a few months ago after spending way too much time scrolling through synth forums and watching way too many YouTube demos that all sounded the same. What sold me was the balance. It's powerful enough to keep me interested but not so overwhelming that I wanted to throw it out the window on day one. The Subsequent 37 is MOOG's modern take on their classic designs, and it packs a serious punch for both beginners and seasoned players. First off, the playability is next level. The keybed is responsive and the layout makes sense right away. I've played synths that look like cockpit panels, but this one? It's intuitive. The paraphonic mode lets you play two notes at once, which might not sound like a big deal until you try layering a bassline with a lead and suddenly your tracks feel fuller without needing a second synth. I've used it to sketch out entire song ideas in minutes just by messing around with the presets. The sound engine is where this thing really shines. You've got two oscillators with variable wave shapes, a sub-oscillator, and a noise generator. That might sound like tech jargon, but what it means is you can dial in everything from warm analog bass to biting leads to textures that sound like they belong in a sci-fi movie. I've used it for everything from EDM basslines to ambient pads in my bedroom recordings. The filter is MOOG's signature ladder filter, and it's as punchy and musical as you'd expect. It's the kind of sound that makes you want to keep tweaking just to see what happens. Modulation is where things get fun. There are two modulation buses, each with its own LFO and envelope, plus a whole section dedicated to assigning them to parameters. I spent an entire afternoon just messing with the LFOs and filters, and I ended up with sounds I never would have thought to try. The sequencer is also surprisingly deep for a hardware synth at this price. It's not just a step sequencer, it's a full-on pattern generator with parameter locks, which means you can create evolving sequences without ever touching a computer. I've used it to sketch out drum patterns and melodic ideas that I later expanded in my DAW. Connectivity is another big win. You've got MIDI in, out, and over USB, plus audio in and out on a 1/4-inch jacks. I've used it both as a standalone instrument and as a MIDI controller for my DAW, and it's seamless either way. The editor/librarian software is a nice bonus too. It lets you save and organize presets without having to scroll through the synth's menus. I've built up a whole library of my favorite patches, and it's saved me so much time when I'm in the middle of a session. Now, let's talk about the downsides. The price tag is steep. This isn't a beginner's toy. If you're just starting out, you might want to look at something more affordable first. Also, the paraphonic mode means it's not a full polyphonic synth, so if you need chords with more than two notes, you'll have to look elsewhere. But honestly, those are minor gripes for what you get. If you're serious about synths and want something that's going to grow with you, the Subsequent 37 is a fantastic choice. It's got the MOOG sound, the build quality, and the features to keep you inspired for years. Whether you're into EDM, ambient, or just messing around, this thing delivers. Link is below if you want to check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. For most buyers, the real question is not whether MOOG Subsequent 37 Paraphonic Analog Synthesizer sounds impressive on paper, but whether strengths like ultra-powerful analog synthesizer, Subsequent 37's control and enhanced playability, featuring a two-note paraphonic keybed that actually make daily use feel easier, more dependable, and more worthwhile after the first few days of excitement wear off. It is also smart to think about long-term satisfaction. A product like MOOG Subsequent 37 Paraphonic Analog Synthesizer usually feels like the better buy when it stays convenient, comfortable, and reliable in normal everyday use instead of only looking good in the listing.